Many of us have suffered with our weight at some point in our lives, counting calories, fad diets, and the like. But according to the CDC, 4 out of 10 Americans struggle with obesity to the point where it has become an epidemic. Adults and children can be affected by this disease, which can lead to many serious illnesses later on, such as type 2 diabetes, some forms of cancer, and heart disease. There are several ways to help combat obesity, and one of the better known methods is weight loss surgery. Bariatric surgery is not for everyone, and it's not a quote, easy fix. So it's extremely important to know all your options before undergoing surgery. Hi, everyone. I'm TAMIKA BICKHAM, your host for today's discussion, coming to you live from the Baptist Health Newsroom. And I'm so excited to welcome our guests who are here to talk to us about this important topic, General Surgeon and Medical Director of Baptist Health Bariatric Weight Loss Surgery Program, Dr. Anthony Gonzalez. And we're also joined by Mario Jimenez, who underwent a gastric sleeve procedure in 2019. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you both. And of course, before we go ahead and dive into today's subject, I want to remind our viewers to go ahead and send in your comments, your questions in the comment section below throughout this discussion. We are here for you and happy to answer any questions you have. So now let's go ahead and get into it. First question is for you, Dr. Gonzalez. Obesity has become an epidemic in recent years, and there are so many health issues that are linked with obesity. So much so that the guidelines for childhood obesity have actually recently been updated. So could you talk to us a little bit about the dangers of obesity and why these guidelines have been updated?
Well, yeah, thank you, TAMIKA. And of course, we understand the dangers of obesity in adulthood. And we understand, as you mentioned, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, leading to heart attacks and strokes, and the long-term implications. And obviously, we understand now the growing amount of childhood obesity that occurs in our country. And finally, the American Pediatric Association has focused on childhood obesity and realized that it's really going to impact these children into adulthood and lead to medical problems. So earlier this year, in January of this year, there have been strong recommendations by the American Pediatric Association for the pediatricians to focus on evaluation and treatment of obesity in these youngsters. They should involve the entire family. There should be an intense multidisciplinary approach. There should be ongoing weekly sessions. They even delineate the number of hours that should be spent in helping not only the child, but the caregiver. They've now recommended and seen that medication for weight loss is safe in youngsters even as young as 12 years old, and now have endorsed bariatric surgery in 13-year-old and older patients. So now it's really come to the forefront. They've realized it. We at Baptist Health have been offering bariatric surgery to adolescents for 20 years, and we're a certified adolescent program. We understand the benefits of it, but now nationally, the American Academy of Pediatrics has now really given the charge to their pediatricians nationwide.
Wow, that's really fascinating information. As you mentioned, I'm sure, like you said, childhood obesity leads to, has the greater potential to lead to problems in adulthood. So I'm curious to hear Mario's story, who's here to share his unique perspective and journey as he underwent weight loss surgery. Could you share with us a little bit about your story and what really was that breaking point for you to decide to go through with this surgery?
I've been overweight most of my life. I never considered myself obese. Now that I look back at some of the pictures, I was very obese. And I had diabetes, I had gout, I had high blood pressure. You name it, I had it associated with my weight. And I just decided I couldn't live like that anymore. And I have grandchildren that wanted me to play with them and go do sports with them. And I couldn't, I was out of breath. And so I just decided to go with the surgery. I was very surprised the prep that goes into it. I thought, you went in, you got operated, and that was it. But spent many months. They get you ready for it psychologically, physically. It was really, really, really rewarding.
And it's incredible. I know you can't see it on your side, but we're just seeing here some of those before pictures of you. And it's incredible to see you now. How do you feel today?
I went from a size 50 pants to a 34. I lost a total of 115 pounds. And just something so simple as when you're overweight and you walk into a restaurant or anywhere, people look at you. I mean, they can't help it, you know, and it's just, for the first time in my life, I can walk into a clothing store and get something off the rack. I went from a triple X to a medium. This shirt I'm wearing now is a medium. I don't think I wore medium after I turned 10 years old.
TAMIKA, I think the other important portion that we, besides the medical problems you're hearing Mario say, is the psychological and the social implications. This obviously occurs in adulthood and occurs in these adolescents and youngsters as well. And we don't realize that not only with bariatric surgery are we resolving diabetes and high blood pressure, but we're improving the psychological well-being, the social well-being, even the economic well-being of these individuals when they lose this significant amount of weight.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure everything from the confidence, how you feel socially, like you mentioned, and Mario mentioned being able to walk into a store and buy a medium, from, I'm sure, travel, getting on airplanes, all of those things that just factor into how you feel psychologically. And thank you for sharing that, Dr. Gonzalez. This next question is for you. So many listening to this may be thinking that, hey, this might be something I want to do. And many think that anyone can get weight loss surgery, but we want to hear from you if all overweight patients are an automatic candidate for weight loss surgery.
No, all overweight patients are not an automatic candidate. Bariatric surgery is for the extremes of weight. In general, you have to have 100 pounds of excess weight. So if you're suffering with 5, 10, 20 pounds, this is not for you. We don't do bariatric surgery on patients who want to lose 20 pounds or 30 pounds. There's other ways to lose it. The reason bariatric surgery is reserved for those extremes of weight are because diet and exercise and even medication has high failure rates with that extreme level of obesity. And bariatric surgery has great success. And as you know, every operation has a risk. And so though today, with the advancement of minimally invasive surgery, robotic surgery, enhanced recovery protocols that we have at Baptist Health, these operations are very safe, but obviously there are risks. So you have to have extreme levels of obesity, 100 pounds of excess weight. You don't necessarily have to have all the medical problems that Mario has, but many people do. Many people don't even know the medical problems they have because they're not being seen by a physician. So it's really for those extremes of weight.
That's a good marker. Thanks for sharing that, Mario. Next question is for you. Recovering from a major surgery is very challenging, as I'm sure you know. Dr. Gonzalez has just mentioned that there's risk that comes involved with it. So can you kind of talk us through how the recovery has been for you, and was it as equally challenging mentally as it was physically?
The physical recovery, thanks to the staff over at Dr. Gonzalez's office, was fantastic. I mean, I had round the clock, I could pick up the phone and call for anything that I felt strange about or anything. The mental recovery is a little more complicated. You go from overeating, overindulging to, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Gonzalez, a 4-ounce stomach. And, it takes a while to adjust it. You can't eat everything you used to eat, and your body doesn't ask you for everything it used to ask. In the old days, I would say, oh man, I want to go to this restaurant and have a porterhouse steak, or I want to have this. That doesn't happen anymore. You go, and my wife and I will order half a rack of ribs. I'll eat 2 ribs, and I'm super full. And if I try to overindulge, your body will tell you you're overdoing it. So it takes a process to realize that you really are another person. And it's fantastic. It really is.
And I really this is actually for both of you, but Mario, you just talked about relearning that relationship with food and kind of having to make that shift and not making certain decisions anymore. But how did you start to make those shifts with your relationship with food? Did it start before or did it start after? How did you start that process?
Part of the process is I had to go to a nutritionist, I believe, for 4 months to relearn how to eat, what to eat and the benefits and downside to different foods. So that helped me prepare for what was coming ahead. I even had to go to a psychologist for the mental aspect of what was about to happen. And you just got to learn. I mean, in the beginning, right out of surgery, right after you get off the liquid diet to the soft diet, you haven't learned yet. But the first time you go to a restaurant and you try and overdo it, you learn quickly. You know, and then you realize that food is not the most important thing in your life anymore. It really isn't.
Dr. Gonzalez, I'd love to hear a little bit from you on this as well. How important is it that your patients have and develop a healthy relationship with food? And what are some of those steps that they can take to do that?
Yeah, we understand it in our program that understanding the importance of food and what the role is in your life has to be taught to the patients. And we take every single patient and we re-educate them. We assume they know nothing, and we'll teach them about eating. We'll teach them about drinking correctly. We'll teach them about vitamins. We re-educate them on physical activity as well as respiratory activities. So they have to go through a pre-operative educational program. We give it all to them, not only verbally in a required lecture, but we give it to them in writing, both electronic and paper version. As Mario says, everybody has to be seen by nutritionists and psychologists or psychiatrists before surgery, because we understand that eating is a behavioral problem. It does nothing to do with your stomach. It's a behavior that we're trying to change. So we operate on your stomach, we educate you in trying to change your behavior. And so all of that before surgery, including a 2-week liquid protein diet before surgery, all of that prepares the patient for what's going to happen afterwards. And then it's not just doing surgery and saying bye to them. We, as a center of excellence, national center of excellence for metabolic and bariatric surgery, we are committed to follow our patients for 5 years minimum. And we've been doing this for over 25 years at Baptist Health. So we have a lot of patients followed for a long period of time. And so we follow the patients long-term to make sure they stay on track. They're eating correctly, their behaviors do not change, and they do not regain weight.
And that's great to hear that there's that support and following the patients for 5 years, because it really is an ongoing journey. And for those who are listening now, there is more information about sessions and webinars on weight loss, which you can find at baptisthealth.net/weight loss. Mario, this next question's for you. I'm sure, as you've mentioned, and we've seen from these before and after photos that we've been seeing, this surgery was truly life-changing for you. And there must have been a huge shift in your life and how you look, how you feel, that mental and physical that we talked about. What does your life look like right now for you?
Well, first of all, it wasn't just a change for me, but for my family. I don't know if this is right, but for the first time, they felt good for me. They felt happy. They felt that I had accomplished something. You know, I wasn't standing there weighing 300 pounds. I can wear regular clothes. I can go do regular activities. And for me, it's when I was young, I used to teach karate, and I had to stop because of my weight. I'm training again. I'm doing a lot of things that I didn't think. I started going to the gym again. And just listen, unless you're overweight, you're not going to understand what I'm telling you. When you put on a shirt and you see that jelly roll coming out of the shirt, or you feel terrible about yourself, even though you don't say it or you didn't do it, but to put on a shirt and there's no excess anything, your pants, you can wear shirts. I never wore a shirt inside my pants for years and years and years. Now I wear everything tucked in. You know, my wife says I'm showing off, but it's just, I feel good. I really do.
Absolutely. I'm sure music to your family's ears, Dr. Gonzalez's ears as well. Dr. Gonzalez, this next question's for you. Patients are hopeful that once they undergo the surgery, that they won't have to deal with being overweight ever again. So can you answer the question, is it possible to regain the weight from weight loss surgeries?
Yes, that's why we follow patients long-term. So remember, obesity is not curable. Obesity is controllable. We at Baptist Health cure cancer. But we can't cure obesity. We can help you control obesity. And so the education before surgery and the long-term follow-up is what's important, and understanding that you have to keep your foot on the pedal, your hands on the wheel, and your eyes on the road. If not, you will regain weight. It's a behavior. So we are very smart. We're humans, and we can outsmart these operations over time. And every one of these operations, and different ones, have different potentials of failure. And so we educate, we tell patients exactly, I will tell a patient exactly how to fail an operation. It's better to understand how you're going to fail it than just stumble upon it and regain the weight. And so we teach you what are the correct behaviors to stay on track. And you could fall off of track a little bit. But if you're doing the follow-up, we can get you back on track and understand that it's a life battle. So yes, all of these operations do have a failure rate, but as a comprehensive program, we try to diminish that as long as the patients stay engaged with our program.
Some great points. I love what you said, that obesity is not curable, but it's controllable, and it's a lifelong battle. Mario, is that something that you can give us some perspective on as well? Because I'm wondering if those who are considering this are also kind of afraid or have a fear of losing the life that they have now, where they can enjoy the foods and things that they...
You can still enjoy the food. Listen, I eat everything I used to eat. I just eat very small portions, very small, because it doesn't fit. Okay. And I'm full. I learned that when I'm full, I'm full. Another thing is, I went from 300 to as low as 181. Then I stabilized around 192, and I fluctuate between 192 and 196. I weigh myself every day. Just because I lost the weight doesn't mean I'm going to eat ice cream all day long or drink sodas. I've cut out sodas. There's certain things you can't eat because it will make you gain the weight back. I mean, and I hear a lot of stories out there. Oh, my cousin had the operation, but they gained more weight than they lost. I go, well, did your cousin maintain the regimen? Did your cousin eat healthy? Did your cousin... You go to a restaurant nowadays, they serve you a plate like this. And I tell everybody, take half home, eat half of the half, and you learn to say, I feel good. It's a drug. Eating and gaining weight is a drug. And you got to be careful. You can never let your guard down, no matter what surgery, how long, or whatever. You got to stay on top of it. And thanks to the support that I got the tools to do it.
So what would you say to people who are thinking of this possibly as a quick fix?
Call me. I'll tell you that it's not a quick fix, but it is a fix. Why is it a fix? It's there. You're going from this point to this point with the help of Dr. Gonzalez and the surgery, and you're getting a new lease on life. You're starting over again. In my case, I got 115 pounds taken off my back. If for people who don't realize what that is, I challenge you to go to a gym and strap 115 pounds to your back and try and walk. Okay. You gotta be careful. You gotta be committed, and you gotta go with the right people that give you the right support. You can't do it on your own, whether it's family, the hospital, the program. You can't do it on your own. And people will tell you, and I'm sure Dr. Gonzalez has heard this before, you can eat a little more. Come on, you're too skinny. Do this. I said, no.
Peer pressure. Yeah.
Yes.
Friends tend to do that for some reason when they see us on that weight loss trajectory and want to kind of pull us off. Can
I say one thing? My
Absolutely.
wife and I, one of the things we enjoy is having breakfast at this local restaurant. It's like a country restaurant. And she orders 2 eggs and corned beef hash and everything. I order 1 egg. And then she gives me a couple of spoonfuls of her corned beef. And the waitress says, 1 egg? Yeah, 1 egg. And if I forced myself, I could probably eat 2 eggs. But why? 1 egg fills me more than enough. It's
Absolutely.
training. It's train your mind.
I want to go ahead and just get our last question in, which is a viewer question for you, Dr. Gonzalez. There are still a lot of misconceptions about obesity as something people can control. So do we have the power to prevent obesity, or is obesity a disease?
Well, obesity is a disease. The American Medical Association designated it as a disease many years ago. So we know it's a disease, and it's a disease that leads to a multitude of other medical problems, as we previously mentioned. There is some obesity that is genetic and you're predisposed. We know that. Some obesity is environmental. It's been shown with immigrants who come from other parts of the world when they immigrate especially into the Western world where their food is in abundance. Then there's more obesity. Some of it is genetic, but the majority of obesity is what we describe as multifactorial. In other words, it encompasses all of those, but not a significant of any of them, and it's behavioral in nature. So the majority of obesity that we deal with is a behavioral problem, and it is controllable. But to Mario's point, it's controllable at the beginning. So if you're listening to this and you're 5 or 10, 20 pounds overweight, take care of it now before you have to come to me and to our program when you're 105 pounds overweight. But if you're 105 pounds overweight, diet and exercise has a success rate of under 1%. Even medications, doctors, real legitimate medical bariatricians who give medication for weight loss, if they're legitimate and they're honest, they're not going to waste your time with medication to help you lose 105 pounds. It's not possible in 99% of patients. So at that point, yes, a medical weight loss is not going to be successful, and you have to really go to surgical weight loss. So yes, there's some portions of it that are not controllable. You know, some people have great genes and they're going to be athletes, and some don't have some great genes and they're not. But at the same token, there's so much more of it that is controllable because of your behavior, and you can control it. And that's what we're trying to educate you on and help you with the portion that you can control.
Wow, Dr. Gonzalez, thank you for sharing that statistic. Under 1% success rate diet and exercise alone for those over that 100 pounds overweight. That's truly incredible. This has been an absolutely fantastic conversation. Thank you for the insight, Mario. It's fantastic to see you healthy,
thank you for
happy,
the invitation,
and thriving. Absolutely. And we just want to thank you again for being here and sharing this information. And again, to our viewers, remember to be sure and go ahead, hit that subscribe button on our channel here to keep up with the latest health and wellness information and tips from our experts. You can also connect with us on our social media channels. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and also LinkedIn. And check out our resource blog for the latest news at baptisthealth.net/news. You'll find a link there to all episodes of the Baptist Health Talk podcast as well. On behalf of everyone at Baptist Health, stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you so much for watching.